On today's show, we are discussing the latest Lakers trade rumors surrounding Giannis Antetokounmpo and Lauri Markkanen. And I know what you're thinking, that these might be super unlikely trade rumors. But number one, these are not being reported or created out of thin air by myself. These are actual reports that are out there. Number two, no one ever thought the Lakers were going to trade for Luka Doncic, and look what happened. So anything is possible, and we're going to talk about the possibilities here on the Lakers report. But the season right around the corner. Next week, the regular season begins. I can't believe we are already here in October. Updates all throughout the year. If you want more Lakers videos, prove it to me by hitting that subscribe button. We're going to talk about the Greek Freak here to start off today's show, and I can't rule out anything with the Lakers at this point, even though this seems like it would be extremely unlikely considering all of the reports surrounding Giannis. He might not be happy in Milwaukee and want to spend the rest of his NBA career there, but if he does want to leave, it sounds like the Knicks are the heavy favorite to land Giannis, but there is a path to the Lakers getting involved. And let's hear it from Jovan Buha, who I think is the best Lakers insider out there. He said, I think the Lakers have to be careful with how they position themselves for the future if it's tough to find a Knicks-Giannis trade. So if that, for whatever reason, just can't happen and Milwaukee refuses to play ball with New York because they just don't want to trade him in conference, then the Lakers can swoop in and potentially offer a competitive package. You have to be careful with cap space, but it does seem like the Lakers are a little bit more open to a short-term move. And I can see why they'd be open to a short-term move because they have Luka under contract for the next 3 years. This is the last year of LeBron James. And look, if any trade happens with Giannis, it would either be at the deadline or it would be next offseason. So maybe you could extend LeBron's career by a year if you go and get Giannis. But pair these three up, Luka, Giannis, LeBron, we're talking about a championship in Los Angeles. I just don't see any other way around it. When you pair two of the top three best players in the NBA alongside the second greatest player of all time in LeBron, like that would be a recipe for success in my opinion. And look, you could do all sorts of things with those guys on the court together. Now let's just talk about how LA and Rob Pelinka could potentially pull this off. It would take a very complicated deal. The Lakers would have to trade a lot of their middling contracts and role players because you're not getting rid of LeBron and you're not getting rid of Luka. But anybody besides that is absolutely on the table for a trade. You're talking about the Rui Hachimuras, the Jared Vanderbilts, the Gabe Vincents, the Austin Reeves. All of those guys are available in a trade for Giannis because we're talking about one of the best players of all time. You are talking about an all-timer in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the numbers speak for themselves. They really do. Giannis last year averaged 30 and 11. Also is really upping his playmaking skills where he's at 6.5 assists a night as well. Look, the guy is special, plain and simple. He's probably a top 20 player of all time. And if the Lakers could find a way to go end up and getting Giannis, I think it would be a fantastic acquisition for Rob Pelinka and the Lakers. Look, this is a guy who is one of the most fierce and aggressive and unstoppable forces that the league has ever seen. Like, he's the closest thing, I think, to Shaq, where you get him going downhill or you just get him in the paint, not a soul is stopping him. Giannis gets what he wants when he wants on the court, and if you can get a guy like that in LA, you just have to do it no matter what. And here is what a potential lineup would look like if the Lakers were able to pull this off. And again, I think this is extremely unlikely. I don't think they're going to end up with Giannis this season, but if for somehow, some way they can find a way to go get him next offseason, if the rumors still persist with him in Milwaukee, talking about how he doesn't really like the direction that franchise is going and he ends up eventually asking out, the Lakers could be in play there. But all that to say, this lineup, Luka, Marcus Smart at the 2, LeBron at the 3, Giannis at the 4, and Deandre Ayton at the 5. Hell, you could take out Ayton and put me out there, and they might be able to win a title. You know what? I can shoot a 3 a little bit. But in all seriousness, like this team would just, I'm not saying they would be the 15-16 Warriors, but they would be pretty damn close. Like, they would win a lot of games, and I think they would be the team to beat in the Western Conference. So if Rob Pelinka can find a way to do it, absolutely go do it. I'm just not sure there's a direct path to going and get Giannis right now, but who knows? Maybe that path could open up, and if it does, Rob, you have to strike. You guys let me know down in the comments, though. This will be today's pin question. Should the Lakers try to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass down below. Look, if it's me, I'm absolutely typing my T's if they can go find a way to do it. Coming up, we'll discuss Lauri Markkanen and a potential trade for the Lakers, and this one might not be as far-fetched as Giannis, considering the Utah Jazz star. Maybe not super happy there in Utah, and there are already some rumblings about his future in the NBA. So we'll discuss that here in just a moment. But before we do that, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks, and you and I make decisions every single day. But on PrizePicks, those right decisions, yeah, they can get you paid. PrizePicks is super easy to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if you're right, you could cash in. You can also play PrizePicks in over 40 states, including Georgia, Texas, and, of course, California. And one of my favorite new features on PrizePicks right now is they offer stacks, which means you can put the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So if you want to pick Luka more on points, rebounds, and assists, you can do that. If you want to pick LeBron more than rebounds, assists, and field goals made, you can do that as well. Basketball season right around the corner, but I do have a football projection for you guys right here for week 7. Give me the less on A.J. Brown receiving yards at 67.5. I'm also going to take the more on Cam Skattebo rushing plus receiving touchdowns, and I'm going to take the more on Sam Darnold pass yards as well. They also have a Steph Curry max discount that you can put in there to boost your projection as well. It's awesome. I love playing PrizePicks, and once again, it is super easy. How do you play? You just download the app and use code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 in lineups. One more time, that is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. So the Lauri Markkanen rumors, as I mentioned, have kind of been swirling around, and Zach Lowe, who is one of the most plugged-in NBA insiders anywhere, like I probably think he's top 5 to be honest, he said he can't imagine a scenario where Lauri Markkanen is on the Jazz in a year. Well, the Lakers could absolutely use a guy like Lauri Markkanen, but I don't know if what the Lakers are trying to do right now, if Markkanen is a great fit basketball-wise for LA. I love Lauri Markkanen, the player. Started out with the Chicago Bulls, made his way over to Cleveland, and now is in Utah. Look, I think he's a really, really good player, the Finnish sniper, as they call him, and I think he's very solid. But is he someone that the Lakers could use alongside Luka and LeBron? That fit is to be determined. Look, like I said, fantastic player, averaged 19 points last year, very good three-point shooter as well, can rebound it a little bit. He's 7 foot tall, but he's really a 4. He's not really a 5. So if you want to put him out there, it's kind of the Anthony Davis conundrum where, yeah, he's probably better as a 5, but he's more of a power forward. So look, I like Lauri Markkanen a lot. I think it would be, again, a complicated deal for the Lakers to end up doing. But at the same time, if you can go get a guy like Lauri, he's definitely a top 30 player in the league. I think he's a borderline all-star at this point in his career. Hasn't really kicked off with Utah because that franchise is in complete disarray, let's be honest. And if he found his way to LA, maybe him pairing himself up with Luka, who wouldn't, I don't know, because the fit with Luka is weird just because Luka likes to play with a big man who can roll to the rim, who can set screens, who can kind of just be the opposite of what he does. Whereas Markkanen is more of a Dirk Nowitzki type stretch 4 where he's going to stay out on the perimeter, knock down some shots, and he can play in the post a little bit, but he's not really going to protect the rim either. So that's where the fit is concerning for me, but maybe JJ Redick could figure it out. And I think Redick's a pretty good coach, and maybe he even could. This was the trade idea that Andy Bailey from Bleacher Report had out there for the Lakers to go get Lauri Markkanen. It was Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, Maxi Kleber, Dalton Connect, all going to the Utah Jazz, in addition to 2 first-round picks and a 2028 pick swap. That's a lot. That's a lot to give up for Lauri Markkanen. Like, it's almost double what the Lakers gave up for Luka. I mean, you're talking about a very good young player in Austin Reeves who's going to make a lot of money on his next contract. So maybe the Lakers end up trading him anyways. Hachimura, I believe, is an expiring deal, as is Maxi Kleber. There's no way Dalton Connect is going to end up on the Lakers team, I would say, by the start of next season, just given they literally traded him last year, and the trade got rescinded. So I think he'll be a piece that is moved in the near future, and apparently all those reports of him being a negative asset, maybe they could throw him into this kind of deal to try to get Markkanen. It's going to take a lot either way for the Lakers to go acquire a star like this. And I could see Rob Pelinka taking a swing for the fences if things aren't going as planned here in the first half of the season. I think we'll revisit these closer to the trade deadline in February, but just keep an eye on Lauri Markkanen and keep half of an eye on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Before we get on out of here, though, would you guys accept this trade? Be the GM for me down in the comment section. Type A for accept or type D for decline. Let me know what you guys think about acquiring Lauri Markkanen if you are the Los Angeles Lakers. That will do it for today's show, guys. I appreciate you for tuning in to the Lakers Report. And of course, if the Lakers make a move, we'll have you covered right here on the channel. Season starts next week, so stay tuned for all things purple and gold.